so
Okay.
that we'll have it available to put on our YouTube channels and to promote later. How are you today, Laddie? I'm so
I'm really
excited.
I'm really well. Looking forward to talking to your guests and those in your network who want to learn a bit more about upgrading their online presence.
Well, you certainly are the one to speak to in that regard. I have my copy of your
Yeah.
book, so I'm
Thank
totally
you.
excited about that. And I hope to give away a couple of copies to those that will be joining us on Facebook Live. We have more of a presence there more often do we do on Zoom. And so hopefully from learning some of your techniques, we'll be able to pull more over into the Zoom or even to enhance what we have on Facebook Live as well. Okay. I know,
Yes.
I know that you have a wealth of information to share, and I haven't gotten all the way through your book. Okay. But I'm the type in something that has this much uh, wealth of content. I just go to different areas and I just started reading. So I don't know if that's right or wrong. I love to read. But I'm more curious when I see a title like this because it's so relevant to what we do at Georgia Christian Business Network in our efforts to put God back in business, and especially with the times, the
Mm.
current times are so challenging for doing business. Online has become a greater opportunity to be successful in business. And so we're honored to have you with us today. Would you please just do a small intro? We promoted you, promoted your information and your books. So give our audience on Facebook Live and here that will be joining us on Zoom and a small intro to who you
Okay.
are and what you
Hi.
do.
My name's Ladey, Lady Adey. I'm a publisher, author, and networker, and I love books. I love everything to do about books. And so I believe there's a book in everybody, and it's my job to make that book come true from the initial idea to opening the carton and pulling out a book with your name on it and the title you've chosen. And when I'm not doing that, I write my own books. And in April was when we started the lockdown. That's when I became aware that networking was going to change forever, which is why I wrote this particular book. And that's going to be the topic, your online presence for your business, from your study to your back bedroom, and how we make your presence really work online.
Wow, this is awesome. This is totally, totally awesome. The opportunity that I want you to speak to right at this moment, and then I'm going to be trying to fill some information to you, questions or comments from our Facebook Live as well. But right now, when you said you identified that this was going to become a hot topic for how do I do more of this? How do I do it successfully? Tell us a bit about the book. And you have a lot of people that have contributed how the book is set up because I want to make sure we get this book as a gift to at least two participants that are on our call today. Yet, those that are listening, we want to make sure that they understand the value that this book contains for the future business direction.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, if we go back to April, May of this year,
Yes.
when COVID hit and our lives changed forever, and well, the countries just went into lockdown, which meant we couldn't get out, we couldn't do the face-to-face networking, and people didn't know whether they'd even have a business at the end of the month. That's how dire things were. But the business community are great at bouncing back. And one of the ways they did it was they said networking is the lifeblood of our business. This is what we do to meet new people. This is what we do to develop relationships. This is what we do to get clients. And this is how we keep our business afloat is by networking. If we can't do it by face to face, how are we going to do it? And Zoom was used a little bit, but nowhere near it as much as it is now. So people started saying, let's have networking meetings and use Zoom or Teams or Google Meets, other platforms, or even Remo. But let's find ways of doing it. And people were so nervous at the beginning. They're like, I don't know if this is going to work. I only want to meet people face to face. I don't like this. I don't like this whole business of being in front of the camera. But as the months got on, we got used to it. And I was interested to know, do we just take what we know about the principles of networking, that we do the in-person, and stick it on screen? And as things moved on, it became obvious to me that there were different protocols, different rules, different ways that we need to present ourselves on screen to come over, because people do business with people they know, who they like, who they trust. And you've got to get that over on screen. And if you get it wrong, people won't do business with you. And this is the only way that we're doing the networking at this moment. Right,
This is
you're on,
awesome.
I could say you were
Yeah,
on
yeah.
mute then.
Yes, but no, this is wonderful because it's just that critical that if you're going to experience success, and those of you that are experiencing success already, but greater success, the only opportunity for you to do the most prevalent opportunity is to embrace business networking online. And so, what would you say if I'm a newbie and I haven't had any prior? I mean, I'm brick and mortar or somebody like that, or I have a co-working space, and I met my clients or I did my business on site predominantly. What are the opportunities? What are some of the first steps for me to be able to start engaging in business networking online? If my platform didn't look like it, it
Yeah.
has to look now, it looked like a totally different animal, so to speak. And now I'm being forced. How do I approach it?
Well, you have to try a few networks to see which work for you, because not all networks suit everybody. It doesn't suit you as a business person, as your personality, and they might not be where your clients are. And there's no point in investing hours and hours of time in networking and then not getting any clients from it. So you
Right.
have to make sure your clients are either on the Zoom call, in the room, or the people who can connect you to your clients are there. So
Mhm.
that's what you're looking for, but you don't know until you start. So the main thing is to set yourself up. And what you think of is this little box here. I'll go up to the top, but I can't draw it very well. And get in the camera, where the camera is. This little box here, which for some people is only an inch by 2 inches, but this is your new business card. So you have to treat it like a business card.
Okay, there you go.
So you have to make sure your name is on there, your full name. And it's always helpful to say what you do and put, so I've got Ladey Adey, publisher, author, networker.
Yeah,
And this is the reason this is so important, is because the whole point in networking is that people want to contact you. People want to follow up with you. They can only do that if they can find you. If they don't know your name, they can't find you. And it has to be your full name. So you have to be kind of hackable. So I, I want people to go, oh, Lady Adey, I'm going to go and have a look, see if she's on Facebook or LinkedIn and other platforms. So they find me, or they might go, oh, has she got a website? Let's see if I can find her, because that is so important. When you've only got one name on there, nobody can find you. And
excellent.
the other, some people put their business name next to it, which is fine. So that's another way of finding you.
Uh-huh.
If you're in a meeting that's going to last an hour or 2 hours, then I actually say put why you're doing what you do, because your business name might not necessarily have what you do
Awesome.
in it. Because people will remember me as a publisher, they'll remember me as an author, but they wouldn't necessarily remember me as Lady Adey Publications. So I want people to be interested enough to go, I need to speak to that person. And
Excellent.
then the follow-up happens outside the networking meeting.
Wow. Wow. That is so awesome. And, you know, I look, there's a chapter or a section that is really dedicated to that. Who are you? And
Mm,
making sure that you're visible, even on the call. Because personally, I've looked, you know, to say who's on this call. Do I know anybody? And I'm looking for purposes of people that I might know or the names might be familiar that I can research at some other opportunity because they've made a statement on the call or suggestion that I want to follow up, and there might be something synergistically, a
mm.
synergistic opportunity there. Yeah.
That's right. And you have to choose, are you going to put a background on?
Hmm.
And what does your background look like? If it's fairly neat, there's some interesting things in there. People are so nosy, particularly if they're seeing in your house or where you are. So they're going, there's some interesting pictures behind you, Beth.
Uh-huh.
What are they about? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I've made some good clients because I'm in the book world and they've had bookshelves behind them.
Right.
And I've
Right.
gone, if you've got that many books on your bookshelves, chances are you might want to write one and I want to talk to you. So you pick up things, or otherwise, people go to where it says stop video and they can then choose a virtual background. And they can prepare these. It's just a JPEG. So this is a typical background that I would use. So it's got a question
Awesome.
there, it's got my book there, that's what I want, and I'm in front of people for anything from half an hour to 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I want them to see. Now, I haven't got what's called a green screen. So it means I get a little fuzzy kind of shadow that does things,
Uh-huh.
which is not
Uh-huh.
great. So I do need to invest in a green shield, screen to stop that
Yeah.
from happening. But
Yeah.
if you don't want that, and it depends on your personal choice, you can change it. You
Right.
can
Right.
go to
Right.
San Francisco, for instance. Or one of
Oh,
my
wow.
favorites is I can go and have bookcases behind me.
I love it. Yeah.
There's You can do lots of, and you can have some fun with it. And I think all networking should be fun anyway.
Yeah.
So you might go, do you know what? I'm going to see who notices this. Or when you do your 1 minute pitch, you have one background. And then when you're talking in your breakout rooms or you're having one-to-ones with people, which some networks do, you then have a different one. So you can
Awesome. I
choose.
love it. And it speaks volumes to people because if you had a green screen behind you, it's really seamless. Sometimes people don't even know. I'll make a comment about their background. Oh, I love that. That's a really nice setup in your den or in your study or whatever. Oh, this is a virtual opportunity to for a background as you just explained. So the opportunity is your image is important as well.
It
Okay.
is.
It is
It,
very much from what, you know, from not only your background, but your appearance as well. And if you're engaged, and I'm having a technical difficulty here today because I'm trying to field calls from Facebook Live. So when I go black, for some reason I've misplaced my other device and I can't see what's on Facebook Live unless I go on the computer here that I have available. So the opportunity here, aside from that, what you want to make sure is that you're present. And that doesn't mean that you don't have to show your face necessarily, but are you commenting in chats? Would you say that is important to participate?
I think so. I think, and you have to be careful of your lighting and you have to be careful of your camera angle. So if you've got a camera angle that's looking like this and there's not much of you there, then that's not good. It's not a professional video image. So you have
Uh-huh.
to make sure you're in the middle of the screen so people can see you
Okay.
because people do business with people, whether it's through a screen or otherwise. And you want to keep that going. So you have to make sure the lighting is in front of you, not behind you, because
Mhm.
otherwise you just have a silhouette and you look like somebody being interviewed in prison or something. And that's not a good look
Not a good look. Not a good
because
look at all.
if there's there can be from 8 people to 60 people on on the Zoom calls.
Mhm.
And if you're a will writer, for example, or a solicitor, there might be more than one of you in the room. And we haven't got all the time in the world, so we have to make quick decisions. Do I want to talk to that person and do some business with that person, or do I choose that person? If they've got an interesting background, if they're looking present, which means that they look at the camera and not at other things, they don't get distracted, they don't do their emails at the same time, but they look straight at the camera.
Right, right,
That means that I'm looking at you. You can see
right.
me looking at you. And
Exactly.
we have this pretense that I'm actually face to face. We haven't really got the camera between us or the screen or
Right, right.
thousands of miles in effect.
It is more
Um,
personable. It makes it more personable.
It
Yeah.
does. It really does. And it just means I want to know more about this person. Tell me more, which is
Wow.
what networking is all about. And
Okay.
a quick, I mean, the chat room, you can't see that on the Facebook, but in a Zoom call, you've got a Zoom chat. And when you put all sorts of detail in that, you make comment on what someone said in a positive way, or you put your links to your website or links to LinkedIn all in that chat room. But what you need to do is make sure you put the http dot dot slash slash and
Uh-huh.
then the www in front. Make sure that whole link goes in there, not just the www, because
Okay.
that then makes it clickable. And we're so lazy.
Immediately. And that saves time. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. I can see someone go, oh, while that person's talking, I'm going to go on to LinkedIn and connect with this person. And because they put the whole link, click, you're there. It opens in another window, so it's not interrupting. Nobody knows, and you can do that. Whereas if it's WW, you have to. It's still easy, but you have to copy it and then take that link and paste it, and then it comes up. And we just want to go
Wow.
one click.
Click.
That's all we want to do.
We're there now. We live there now. And I like what you said, and all of this is a part of building your business online. And back to the scenario that I described, I'm just starting out, you know, how do I just, just dive into uh, online presence? Do I just start with putting together content so that I could invite people to come join me, introduce myself online? How do you build the connections? I was actually previewing one of your meetings in where you had your book launch, and
All right,
it was
yes.
so very successful. And I want to know, how do we get there? And I know we're going to crawl a little bit before we walk, but tell us some steps about how to get there.
So, are you talking about the actual book launch or actually on the networking side?
Both of those, because
Both
your
of
book
those.
launch was just outstanding, where I came up with the question from. And so,
Okay.
yeah, if you can tie it, that would be wonderful.
Okay. My book, all about networking. When I started writing it in April, I thought I'd have about 25 people in it, and it would be 25,000 words, and it'll be done in 3 months. As it happened, it took 6 months. I've got over 120 people in it, and which is just absolutely amazing, and it's over 75,000 words. So the whole thing just grew and grew and grew. And because I've got all those people in the book, it was important they were on the launch. Now, these were people that I didn't necessarily know before lockdown. So I met them through networking, or or because I was interested in how people were coping. Networking was, do you love it? Do you hate it? I would put a poll on my LinkedIn, and then people would reply. Or I would see somebody say something like, do you know, I'm getting really tired on Zoom. I think I've got Zoom fatigue. And I thought, I haven't heard that before. What's Zoom fatigue? So I then linked up with that person by clicking on their name, going to finding them on LinkedIn and saying to them, you talked about Zoom fatigue. tell me more. Turns out that they were somebody who's very interested in breathing and exercise, and was very concerned about what was happening to the body when we were doing online work. And
Wow.
and so that meant there was a chapter in the book then, because we started talking, I interviewed them, and it all came out about how Zoom fatigue happens because we book back-to-back Zoom meetings. We don't give ourselves a break. When it is in-person networking, we would take the car to the meeting, have the meeting, drive back. As we were driving or traveling, we would be thinking about the people we met, and we would be digesting things. Well, when you just go from Zoom to Zoom to Zoom, you don't have that break to let things filter through. It's like, here we are, on to the next, on to the next. And at the end of the day, you think, I feel so drained. What's happened? All I've done is sat in front of the computer all day, but I'm more tired than if I'd gone out. And it's because other things are happening and we're not using our full body language when we're on screen, which is a disadvantage to us. It's a disadvantage in how we understand, how we pick up clues from each other. We all sit down, we're not standing up. Um, but on the conversely, people with disabilities are getting on much better with online networking because they don't have to travel anywhere. If they've got some deafness, they've got an easier way of lip reading, and they can control the volume. So much is happening like that. So I'd built up my book with those people. So the launch was important, that they were, a launch of a book is just a celebration of the book and a party and saying, hey, it's here, it's out there. So I wanted, those people and people interested in networking to come along. So I did a lot of social media, telling people about it, put the event on Eventbrite, did that as my registration, constantly inviting people for weeks before till we set up the event. And the
Mhm.
event had Lincoln Noel, who played the piano for us, and we just made it a real fun time. And because my book was about networking, we had networking sessions within it.
Wow.
And I had a great team around me. I had a team of people like Bob Pearl, who sorted out all the control of the Zoom call for me. I had somebody called John Ferris who dealt with the Facebook link for me, and
Awesome.
somebody else who dealt with admitting people in and out. So I didn't have to worry about any of that. All I needed to do was present and welcome people and talk about my book, which is what a book
Wow.
launch is about.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. That is so amazing to even consider. And this organization is important there. I was listening to you share about how you focused on launching your book to make it a celebration. But let's take it to another level, that I have a product or I have some training or something that I want to provide. I'm trying to sell something. Trying to market something and get it out there and take it to the next level. I know it's good content. I know it's quality, what I have to offer. How do I engage people?
You engage people through your 1 minute,
Mhm.
and
I
most
read about the
networks
1 minute.
have
Mhm.
your 1 minute to action, your elevator pitch. And
Mhm.
it's in that that you get excited about your product, you get excited about your service. But you don't just list, oh, I do this, this, and this, and the benefits of that, and that. People aren't really interested. They want
Yeah,
to know
yeah,
why. It's the why. So why did I choose this to produce this product? Why did I produce to go into the service? And when you talk about the why and the stories of, what happened to you last week when you worked with a client, and you tell a bit more of a story, you can get the benefits and what you do in there, but you
right.
tell it as a story rather than listing, I do this, I do that, and I
Bullets.
do the
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
which everyone just switches off.
Quite,
And
quite
oh,
boring.
okay,
Yeah.
as somebody selling insurance, right? Okay, I kind of don't really need it. I will do my email, blah blah blah. Oh, next person, and we do that on Zoom because we can.
Okay.
It's naughty, but we do. Whereas if that insurance person had said something like, let me tell you a scenario of how I helped this person. and then told a story, it would be, oh, okay, oh, that's interesting. Didn't realize you did that. I must give you a ring. I must follow up because you're going to tell me something I don't know, and I might need that. And we
Right.
can do that in all sorts of ways, whatever our service is, whatever our product is. So Tony's just joined us and he's like how money works. So people might go, oh no, not money. But if he tells in his elevator pitch, which is just a door opener, that's all it is. It's a way of saying something, you don't know what my business is really about. So let me just give you a 1 minute glimpse of it.
Uh-huh.
Enough for you to say, I want to come through your door and talk to you. And then when you have your one-to-ones, which are longer, you can then give far more information.
Right.
Because
Right.
people try to pack too much into that elevator pitch, and you can't. The
Right.
more you try and pack into it, the more you lose people. So
So
you
we're
keep it
still at
very
like
clear.
1 minute still. I mean, years
Yeah,
ago when I first was introduced to the elevator pitch, being concise is important, but yet making sure the strength of the content is enough that reveals what your focus, your why, that answers your why. I agree with you 100%. And I love the way you articulated um, how important the elevator pitch even is now, even in
it
these now
is.
times. Because really, I've not heard anybody say that. Maybe I haven't been on enough calls, but when I read it in your book, that the elevator pitch is even more significant now that we're online networking than it was probably before, because at least people could follow that if you're in a meeting or in a setting with someone with more questions, having more time to really find out what they're not hearing. But really,
Yeah.
your time is more limited now with your online presence, and if depending on the setting, and if you're in a group and the time is allowed it and you don't get it out, you may miss that opportunity is what I was thinking.
That's right. You need to be smart about it. So you need to practice.
Mhm.
And it's good fun to have a kiss off line.
I read that. That was good. That was
Now,
very good in the
a
book.
kiss
Yeah.
off line is something to do with your business, which
Uh-huh.
people can remember, and it's the one you finish with. So it's like kissing off now.
Yeah.
And mine is I'm changing people's lives one book at a time. Or I might
Wonderful.
use, is there a book inside you? And that sort of thing is what certain people remember that. And if
Uh-huh.
you use the same one, I've got somebody who's always says they're into arts on the wall. If you haven't got art, then you've got no heart. And he plays around with that a little bit. And we know it's the end of his pitch when he's said that, but he leads it up and we're just ready for it. We want to hear it or we want to join in. So a kiss off line is really a great way of communicating what you do.
When I read that, I thought that's a cliffhanger, you know,
Yes, that's
because I
right.
want to know more about what you're saying. And oh my God, you're leaving me hanging here. So my opportunity and alternative is to follow up for that one-to-one, because that's where we're trying to drive to become. I might meet you in an open group networking online, but the ideal situation to learn more and to do that networking as we knew it before is to get them in that one-to-one. Like you and I explored so many opportunities. When I was trying to get you to speak, I end up recognizing more of the publishing side and maybe opportunity for you and I. But I was trying to call for one thing. I ended up buying a copy of the book, you know,
Thank
and
you for that.
committed to give a couple of copies away, and hopefully sell some more through the replay or the opportunities for those that are listening to see the significance and the critical value that I'm learning from this book. And even though you mentioned earlier, and Tony and Bernice, thank you so much for joining us online here. We really appreciate it on Zoom. And I'm going to take a quick peek. Guys, I have no idea what happened to my cell phone, but I'm going to peek over at Facebook Live to see if
Hi.
there's any questions there. Please feel free to, if you're on Facebook Live, please, please feel free to chat, and occasionally I'll go back and forth. I can even text someone to say, field the questions to me on Zoom from Facebook Live. And Tony, you're here. I know Bernice doesn't have an account. If you see any messages on Facebook Live and we need to go over there, please let us know. But one of the things in reading the Kiss Offline, finding out about reviving my 1 minute so that it fits into the online network. And there's so many other great opportunities and even testimonials that are inside of this book. And when you start off with the principles and when you're talking about being visible, the quick thing to do half the time is to not show your face, because you are doing the multitask thing, been guilty of that myself. But you're talking about going to the extent of embracing online technology that is available, that I need to invest in that, because this is what I do a lot of.
That's right, you do. And to come back to your original scenario of somebody very new to networking, what they do, there are some serious no-nos. And one of those is don't eat in front of the camera.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, don't eat. It's
Right.
my biggest turn off is seeing
Uh-huh.
somebody eating something,
Uh-huh.
chewing it away. I don't want to see that. I really don't.
What
So
about
if
my
you
coffee? Is that a turn off?
no, coffee and drinks are fine.
Okay.
We have no problem with that because we're all doing that. And when we first started doing the Zoom, it was all, oh, what's your cup saying? Does
Ah,
your cup say
yeah.
that? And there was a whole lot of discussion about people's cups at one point.
Okay.
I
Okay.
do know somebody said to me the other day that we're all missing a marketing trick, because really we should have labels on the bottoms of our cups showing what our business is. Because if we're taking a drink, and no, Facebook can't, you might see that,
Yeah. And
that
honestly,
is being shown.
yes. And honestly, when I'm at home, sometimes I use I coined the phrase, God has a plan, Jeremiah 29:11. And on the back of the cup, it says, and I am a part of it. And so when I'm at home taking a call, I'm at my co-working space, I sometimes use that cup because I want to put that message out there that God
Yeah.
has a plan and you're a part of that plan. And sometimes that's my trail. If you want to, I need assistance in finding out what's God's plan for your life. If you need coaching in that regard, call me, so yeah.
Yeah, because when we want to put the Christian message out, and we're in a non-Christian's network, I like to wear my cross because that gives me my identity of saying
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
chance this isn't just
Yeah.
jewelry. There's a chance that there's some meaning behind that. Having something religious in the background or something can be a bit of a giveaway. And there's other ways that you can let people know you're Christian just visually. But yeah, so don't eat is a big no-no. If somebody eats on camera, I'm not rude enough to say, do you really have to eat? I don't make a comment, but I move my chat box so that I cover them up so I can't see them.
Ah,
That's how I deal with it. But the chances are I don't really want to do business with that person,
okay.
because as far as I'm concerned, they're not being professional. They're not being professional online because they're munching away. Don't blow your nose on camera. Don't comb your hair. Don't do your makeup. There's a lots of no-nos, that when you're face to face and networking and you're eating, the chances are other people are eating as well,
Yeah.
and you have a bigger distance and you're not up close on the camera, so you just zone it out. You don't particularly notice unless they talk with their mouth full. You don't really mind. But on camera it's different. When
Uh-huh.
people blow their nose and stuff, you or comb their hair, you don't really notice.
Yeah.
Obviously someone sneezes, they have to do that. But on camera it's different. So
Yeah.
then you hit the stop video. So when you hit the stop video, then that photograph comes up or your name comes up just there. And for those moments while you're having a quick eat or or blowing your nose or whatever, then nobody knows and it's fine. And if you've got your mute button on as well, that's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Awesome.
You use your mute button, it's become quite form that most people are on mute unless they are actually talking.
Right, right.
Because we don't want to hear background noises, we don't hear babies crying and toddlers fighting and dogs barking and the postman arriving or the mailman arriving. You know, it just stops all that so that we can hear very clearly the bits that we want to hear.
Uh-huh.
Um, but in Christian settings, sometimes it's a bit different because I go to a Christian network, and everybody is off mute so that we can pray together, and it gives a more spontaneous feel. Because that's the difficulty with Zoom. The spontaneity isn't there in the same way as it is in person. Somebody
Mhm,
can't just start a random discussion and
mhm.
everybody start joining in. You can't do that on Zoom because everything is so controlled.
Wow, wow. One of the things that you talked about in the book that I wanted you to expound on more for us, and it's under chapter 6, your online networking success, because a lot of people don't understand the significant success that can be experienced from online networking. And so that's why one of the primary reasons, to be totally transparent, that I really wanted you over here to create a case and for online networking to help people to, even when at times in times to come when we go back into more opportunities for on-site networking and such, that there's still value in online networking. And so one of the things that you were saying in that is your networks are important that you choose. You know, sometimes we have a tendencies to go to what's most familiar to us. But last week, someone, if I had my phone, I'd be able to tell you, but I can't remember the name of it. But it's an app, a new app on my phone that someone introduced me to that I'd never heard of, and it's through Google. That part I can tell you, but that was essential in your book, highlighted. And so I wanted you to talk about that. And then the other thing you said, measure your networking productivity. And I want to know about, you know, how to maintain that balanced uh, scorecard and how important it is to make sure that I attend networking uh, opportunities online, in addition to those that I sponsor.
Yeah. Um, I go to maybe 10 to 15 networking events a week online.
Wow,
Prior to that, when it was only in person, I would do that many in a month, and my sales have tripled.
wow.
My business during lockdown has just escalated. I didn't expect that, and God has blessed it, and I'm just so thankful to Him for that.
Congratulations,
Thank- Well,
congratulations.
it's His doing it, not me, but yeah,
Through
it
you,
is.
yeah, through
Yes,
you,
through
yeah.
me, and that is just the beauty of online networking. But you have to be where your customers are. And if you don't know who your customers are and who your ideal customers are, then you have to do a bit of work. And that's usually called an avatar. So you have to work out who your best avatar is and who your anti avatar is. Who are the people you definitely don't want as customers? So if there's some people you definitely don't want as customers, and there's the majority of those are in that network, you're in the wrong place. So you have to work out which network suits you and
Mhm,
how the organizer does that network. They're all quite different, actually. You've got the BNI set up. They are very formalized and have a very um, structured way of doing things.
mhm,
And if that suits you and you get results from it, perfect. Doesn't suit everybody.
mhm.
Although Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI, has endorsed this book, which is quite something.
Awesome.
But you have to be savvy. This is a marketing exercise. This is a strategy you use in your business for the bottom line to get clients, to get money, to have profit so you can continue your business.
Uh-huh.
That's the bottom line. Now, how we do it, now we do talk a lot about wanting to develop relationships. We're not in there to do the hard sell. Networking isn't about going, hey, this is my book, this is, this is my product, buy it now. That does not go down well, because people want to be enticed. They want
Uh-huh.
to
Uh-huh.
work out themselves, do I want what that person has to offer? So it's about deepening relationships, and it's more about, I can help you, can you help me? And even if I don't want your product, I like what you're doing, can I go and tell somebody else in my tribe
Awesome.
about
Yeah.
it? And you can't do that if someone's going, whoa, 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 bye, bye, bye. It doesn't work. So I developed the networking balance scorecard. And can we share the screen, and then I can
Please,
actually
yes, you should
show?
be able to share. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So I'll just set this up now, and I'll make this as big as I can. So this is from, Peter Drucker said, what gets measured gets managed.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same. And now, is this clear enough for you? Whoops, a daisy. I'm going the wrong way
Yes.
through my slides. So, um, yeah, so I can give this slide to anybody who's watching this on Facebook, um, live or recorded, or Zoom. If you email me on ladey@ladeyadey.com, I will send you this slide, and I'll also send you the Excel sheet to help you populate. But I'm just going to see if I can make it any bigger. No, that's the volume, so that won't do it. Oh, that's it. It's going slightly bigger
Well,
now. That's
if
better.
you go to your slideshow and under view, you should be able to have nothing but the slide and not your whole screen. Go to
Okay.
slideshow at the top. You've got home, all the way across to slideshow right there. And you could, yeah, you will go back because you wanted to view slide only.
I
Go
did,
back.
didn't I?
Yeah. So what you want to go to is slideshow, and you could either play from the start. It should say the view though. Present a view. You could do that.
Present to view. Let's try
Right there.
that. No, still doing
No, no,
that.
go to play from start, and then you just choose which slide you want.
Yeah, if I go from play from start, it
Slideshow,
will.
slideshow at the top, and then play from side. It'll get rid of all of the um, bars.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why it's showing all of that, but okay.
No,
There you go.
let's see if it's anything on. Oh, there
There
we
you
go.
go.
That's more like,
There you
isn't it?
go.
So excuse me
Yeah,
while I whiz. So I'm
sure.
going whiz everything. So we're back to here. I still don't know whether it's as big as we could have made it, but no, that's as big as it's going to get. But can you see I've got initiative, introduction, interfacing, and interaction.
Exactly.
And what we're saying is you get points. You get points for different things that you do. Now, it's not a competition between you and anybody else. It's only for your information and a way of collecting data or data. So when you attend an event, you get 10 points. And this is for every single networking event you go to. So if you do 5 in a week, then you get 50 points. If you do more, you get more points. And then it goes through that. So if you gain a new customer from networking, that's a whole 50 points. And then you're in exactly the right network. Because if you can get a customer from networking, then you can get more than one. The introduction is if your name's tagged on social media or someone contacts you after seeing you in a networking meeting, again, you get points. Or if you refer somebody, you get more points. The interfacing is if you ask a speaker a question. So if anyone asked me a direct question now, you would get 10 points. If you create or post a video, you get more points. If you speak at a networking event, you get 30 points. And the interaction one is if you interact with an individual in the chat box, you get some of some points. If you leave a comment on a group page, you get points. And all of that works so very well to help you measure your activity. So can
Oh,
send you that slide directly, and I can
please.
send you, you just need to email me, ladey@ladeyad.com, and it's got an E in my name. And I would be delighted to send you those slides. They are in the book, but I can send you those slides in isolation as well, so that you can have the Excel sheet, so you can do all the sums and do the maths.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is awesome. And I just, it's amazing how you come up with these things to be able to score, but that lets you know where you should target going forward, so it gives you great opportunity. Thank you, Angela, for joining us on Zoom as well. Glad to have you. This is some great information we're sharing here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to chime in, because now's the time to ask. We have a few more minutes remaining here. Okay, so one of the things that, and I don't want to fast forward, you were talking about the future of business networking online. And I said earlier, in creating a case for business networking, I believe what happens is people say, it's a phase, and it'll pass or whatever. So I wanted to have you speak to that, because in my exploring your book, I thought that needs to be told. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go away. From my personal perspective, it's going to take a crowbar to get me out of this chair and away from Zoom, because I'm getting so much follow up and clients from it, far greater than I did in person. And though it's nice to be in person, by the time I've spent my time getting there, it's a whole morning or whole afternoon. It's 3 hours away from the office the moment I do that. Zoom gives me far more flexibility, and people are being more and more creative with the networks, and people are liking it. It's working for them. They're getting more business. When you get more business from something, why would you stop it? So, yes, May, June last year, we were still new to it. We didn't know what we thought to it. Now we do. So, I think there'll be blended networking. I think organizations will say, right, we're going to do so many a month on Zoom, and we're going to have so many in person. And then people can have a choice of which suits them, suits their business. But for me, I'm a Zoom girl now, through and through. So, Angela's said, um, that you moved your workshop to Zoom, and then you have clients out of state. Yeah, I couldn't have just hopped on a plane and come and spoken to you in Georgia. Zoom, I told my family, I'm just going off to America now. So it is just absolutely incredible. But of course, the most common comment, the most common thing we hear in all Zoom calls is you're on mute, because we forget to click the mute button on and off. So,
You just said it and I just did it. Sometimes we forget. Awesome. And so the opportunities here are just so extensive in online networking. And as Angela just tests to, and your evidence of it, I don't have to just choose to present speakers that are local here. I can go across the pond and identify someone that has value to bring to the GCBN platform, as you yourself have done today. Ladey, are there any particular final points that you would like to highlight in the next couple of minutes? We're about to bring it to a close.
yeah, just a couple of tips. One of them is to take a screenshot of the networking meeting you're in,
Uh-huh.
and it your computer, you'll know how to do the screenshots, and that's worthwhile, because if you do lots of networking meetings, you forget who was in what and who you spoke to when. And by having the screenshot and then you label them with the network that you've just been in and stick them in a folder, it means when you think, oh, who was that person that was telling me about or spoke about? I want to get in contact now. And we get names backwards and forwards. So you could be thinking, as somebody who spoke to me about how money works, I think his name was Guy, but I can't find him. And you've searched everywhere. You search your emails, you search LinkedIn, you can't find somebody called Guy. But if you go back and find your picture, you'll realize, oh, yes, it was Tony Guy. That's the person. And then you can find them again. So, a quick tip is to take a screenshot whenever you're in a networking meeting or on a one to one, because and then catalog them so that you can find them easy when on those days when you think, who was that person? Because we are not exchanging business cards anymore. This is what we've got, what's in front of
Wow.
us.
Wow. That's awesome. That is so awesome. I just typed into the Facebook group and here on Zoom as well to please share your comments as and feedback in order to be entered into our drawer for a free copy of Ladey's book. But since we have Angela and Tony here, I'd like to say, because they came courageous to come with us with Zoom. Bernice has left. She was here earlier. I want to award you guys a free copy of Ladey's book. So if
Oh,
you would give me your, I think I have them both, but just go ahead and Facebook Messenger a copy of your, just your email address. That'll be sufficient. Okay. Or either if you could text it to me, it would be so much better. I would sincerely appreciate it. Okay.
I mean,
Awesome.
you can find it on Amazon as well. At the moment, it's just the hardback on there now. But because I've rebranded, so I had to do some changes. But they will be up and ready in the new year. The paperback.
Wow. Okay. Well, I just took your link and posted it on our Facebook Live page um, as well, so that any of those that are listening in the replay would have an opportunity to please do yourself, do your business a favor, and invest in this book. I promise you. I had to, my assistant, Christian, I said, when I got off the call with you that morning, we spent about 30, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour chatting on
You
Zoom
did, yeah.
about a month ago. And I was like, find me a copy of that book. I need a copy of that book. And she did, and I have it. And I've been all over the place in it. But I'm one of those, sometimes I start from the beginning to the back, but sometimes I start from the back to the beginning. But I enjoy my books and I enjoy reading them. I want you to say quickly, speak to your publishing business, because you said that you believe that there is a book inside of each of us. And I really
I
want to
do.
send a shout out to that. I've sent her a copy of not all of my new book, but I sent you the intro to first couple of chapters recently. And so we're going to follow that up in next week or so. But if you would send a shout out.
Okay, certainly. I believe there's a book in everybody. And it makes such a difference to your business. It's the best business card you can actually have for your business is to have your own book. And it always excites me because I never quite know when I'm talking to people what part of their business they want to put in their book. And it can be your expertise, it can be your memoirs, it can be how you got there, it can be your journey, or it can be your real message that you want to pass on to your reader. If you've been in business for quite a long while, you've probably got a lot to say. And it just helps you to get on that speaking circuit. And you, I love it when someone says, everybody keeps saying to me, oh, you should write a book. When I tell them a story or explain something, go, why don't you write a book? Or maybe it's time for you to write your book. And if I can help you on that, I have some author mentoring programs. I would love to have that conversation, see what your book idea is. I only take on 20 people a year. And I believe that we can change lives one book at a time.
I love it. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
Very well articulate, everything. Oh my God, if I didn't know you, I'd get to know you. I agree, though. There's a book within each of us, but you give permission to write that book. And I think whatever we find ourselves in, whatever industry, you give people permission to operate in what you're presenting before them and how you articulate your 1 minute. You don't have much time, and it's valuable the time that you get today in the presence of another online. And so what you're trying to drive is, I think, is most important for me, is to get to that one-to-one conversation. And also hearing today from you that you're engaged in 10 to 15 online networking opportunities per week. And I was like, oh my God, I got to beef it up a little bit here, you know? But I do attend some, and I do know they're very, very valuable, and you can learn. I attended one last week that GCBN sponsored. We had good, Tony, you were there, as a matter of fact. That was an outstanding presentation by Rob Bingham, a time management class. And he actually did such an awesome job because you spoke to sitting down. But I've had events where I've hosted and I've stood up, and he stood up quite a bit of the time, and his, as a matter of fact. And you can adjust your computer and do just that. And it's a great presentation, a great look as well. But so it's so important to know that don't fear attending them, and there is value in them. If there's a workshop being offered and they're saying it's $59.89 or $109 or $199, know that that content, if the person is credible, the organization is worthy of that. Because when you get in there, you're like, what could they do online that, there's some kind of way of higher value placed if I went on site than there is if I'm getting it online. Have you experienced that at all?
Yes, and different networks give a different speaker. And if
Yeah.
there's a different speaker in it's just the best way of personal development. And when you're in business on your own, um, you don't get those training opportunities in the same way as people with corporate jobs do. So it's just a really good way of really getting good information that you can then implement into your own business.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, this has been wonderful today. Thank you so very much for joining us, for sharing this valuable content with us. And we most definitely, if you're available and willing in the new year, want to invite you back, because I believe
Thank
that
you.
the uprise is going to be recognized in the new year that we're still here. Okay.
Yes,
And
yeah.
we're not going anywhere. So we need to figure out, how do I embrace this online networking? Because if I really, really, truly want to grow my business, want to continue to sustain my business, this is going to be critical component, is how you are successful in this area is going to determine whether or not the viability of your business, if you will. Okay.
Yeah, we could even do some sort of workshop on the actual one elevator pitch, the 1 minute pitch.
Let's do it.
And
Let's
have
do
it
it.
interactive with people actually practicing or having a go, and with feedback, that
Let's
sort of
do it.
thing.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. I'll let Christian know we need to be planning that for the new year. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
so much.
me.
I want to do a little GCBN housekeeping. We have an awesome event, the last event prior to Thanksgiving and the last event for November until December is tomorrow, our Wellness Wednesday opportunity with Rich Oswald with Legacy Counseling. And he's going to talk about grieving during the holidays. Very, very important subject. So Pamela's off this month, Pamela Bridgman. She's also an LCSW, but Rich is an LPC. And he's going to be here tomorrow. We've had a guest the past 2 weeks, and she wasn't available for this week. So Rich is going in alone, and he is doing so awesome. If you get an opportunity, visit legacycounseling.com or go to his Facebook page. he is really putting some powerful content out there for free. And so please join us tomorrow. So it sounds like Angela's been experiencing some of that. I try to share it in our Facebook group as well. So in addition to that, I want you to know that we have an awesome lineup for December. We're so excited to present Dr. Randy Ross as our kickoff for January 2021. Currently, it is planned to be at Cornerstone Co-working here. We're actually coming back. And the title of our theme for next year is #comeback. And so we believe it. This is something that God has spoken in my spirit, the year of the comeback. So if the next administration, the elected administration, doesn't close us up, we're going to be on site here on January 23rd, 2021. I saw some of the promotions that they're putting together for it, and they look really good. So please, and everyone's going to get a copy of his book, Relationomics, with a part of your registration. GCBN members would have a considerably low registration compared to others that will be invited to attend. So there we go. We've got these lineups that are set in place. Please visit our website, www.gcbnetwork.com. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Wellness Wednesday tomorrow at noon. Ladey, thank you so much. I say Ladey, I want to say lady. Okay, we're so excited to have had you. We're looking forward to a continued relationship. I'll reach out to you to identify a time that we can continue to talk about what's next. Thank you guys, Tony and Angela, for joining us today. We appreciate it. God bless you all. Have a great afternoon.
Blessings.
And a good evening to you, Ladey. Your time, what time is it there? Is 7, right?
6 o'clock.
Oh,
6 o'clock now.
Yeah.
Okay. Tea time.
Tea time. Take care. Bye-bye.